Let's get talking now. The cost of living is a major concern for many Nigerians, with the prices of goods and services continuing to rise despite the recent appreciation of the naira against the dollar. In response to these concerns, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has reiterated its commitment to protecting consumers from exploitation. The Commission says it is taking proactive steps to address this issue using its existing legal framework to enforce fair competition and consumer protection provisions. Let's get talking. I'm being joined by the Acting Executive Vice Chairman, Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, Dr. Adamu Abdullahi, from our Abuja studios. Good afternoon, Dr. Abdullahi. It's good to see you.
Good afternoon, Tolu. Always a pleasure to be here.
Yes, I think I'm going to start this way. How aware or how worried is FCCPC about complaints from Nigerians with regards to the continuous hike in price of goods despite the relative fall that we've seen in the dollar that's against the naira?
Well, this is something that's worrisome to all well-meaning Nigerians, despite the fact that, as you have rightly observed, the dollar has really fallen. Our naira has become much stronger over the past couple of days, but prices of goods kept rising up. But we're happy to announce that things are looking better now. As of the investigations we carried out only yesterday, as we said, our operatives will be in markets, both informal and formal, and we are good to report that things have started coming down, rise by as much as 19%. So this is good news, and we would continue to pursue that to ensure that the marketplace remains balanced and ensure that no practices that are against competition happen in the marketplace. Essentially, the price of goods rose because of some practices that we found unpalatable that were being carried out by some of the market agents. This has to do especially with market associations and supermarkets also. But we have the experience, we have technical know-how. We know what we did during the COVID-19 pandemic when we went into supermarkets, looked at their records, found out how much they bought goods for, how much they sold them for, took into consideration, of course, replacement value and things like that. But now replacement value has come down. So we have every reason to also talk to the markets to get these items to come down. We are not a price regulatory agency, and we are not trying to regulate prices. That is not what we do. We can't expect to do that when we have a deregulated economy. However, we have to look at market distortions and do the needful and ensure that there's a level playing ground in the markets. Associations have refused to allow new entrants into the market. A farmer, for instance, bringing in his products from his farm into the market is disallowed, and the association insists that he has to be a member of the association, and they also form cartels and fix prices. We have made it abundantly clear, and this is an ongoing process, that this is not acceptable, it's against the law. And they tend to now understand and have started opening up the markets. That's why you see that things will start to come down, and we give our assurances that we'll continue doing what we are supposed to do to ensure that this continues to happen.
It's a good way to start this conversation. I agree with you that FCCPC can't solely control prices, but of course use your existing legal framework to enforce fair competition and consumer protection. How have you been managing complaints from consumers in recent times? It's not very easy, talking about price gouging and cartel formation. How have you been managing it as a commission?
Well, you see, our work has already been cut out for us, and we know what we are supposed to do, and we are doing it. It is very easy to explain to complainants that this is a thing that we are working on, because it's really not anything that you can just jump into and conclude. We can't go into the market, for instance, and direct that all sellers of eggs, for instance, must sell egg at so and so price. We are not that kind of body. But we can go into the fair market issues and ensure that the right thing is done. And that's exactly what we're doing. Beyond that, we're also looking at having a sort of platform in which we can now monitor prices. The Honourable Minister has already given directive on that platform taking off before this week runs out, that's by Friday. And that's the meeting that we're going to hold immediately I get back to my office to ensure that there is a mirror through which we can monitor prices of goods and commodities all over the country at any given time, on time, real time. That will give us a good boost in the fact that when there are distortions, they're easy to discover and they're easy to do something about. That is where we're going next. We already have, of course, the top consultants in the country, Anderson, working with us on some market surveys to ensure also that from farm to fork, we know what actually transpires in between that have so far made goods so expensive in our markets. From the farms, things are still pretty affordable. But somewhere along the way, you find out that there are so many checkpoints, there are so many charges to be paid, so many multiples of charges, so to speak. And we are trying to work with other government agencies, of course, to make sure that these things don't happen anymore. That way, things get to the market cheaper and, of course, are sold cheaper. Because the higher it costs you to bring the goods into the market, all these charges now, of course, get to the consumer. So we want to ensure or assure people that we are doing our very best to make sure that all these charges along the way are eliminated so that the market prices come down lower.
Let me ask you this question, and this complaint has been coming in frequently now. When you get to some supermarkets and you get to the shelf, there's a price on a particular good you want to purchase. When you get to the pay point, there's a different price. And some people will have to return those goods in some cases. I've witnessed many like that. What are you doing in sanctioning supermarkets that engage in practices like this, sharp practices, because that looks sharp to me? Why not change it from the shelf? And I know what I'm buying, the price it is. What do you do in cases like that? Give us examples.
Worse than that, Tolu, there are some supermarkets that don't even display prices at all, which is against the law. You first go to the shelf, pick what you want to pick, then you go to the till to find out the price of the good. And that is not acceptable. You reach a decision at the shelf. That's where the prices should be. We took it up seriously, as you have seen over the past couple of months, leading to even the sealing of one of the supermarkets here in Abuja. But we are not going the way of sealing any longer, even though, yes, we are working underground. That's our function. We go on spot inspections of all supermarkets all over the country. And I would say over the past couple of weeks, we have done like 98 different supermarkets in Abuja alone. And we have discovered, of course, some discrepancies. What we are doing is working along with the management of these supermarkets to make sure that the right thing is done. It is not easy because, of course, they always have ways and means of cutting corners, but we know all the games that they play since we are working from experience. And this is an agency that has been up and doing over the years, as you are all aware. And you know that we don't fail in our duties. We have the capacity, we have the will, and we have the determination to ensure that the right thing is done. So whenever we discover such issues, we work with the supermarket to ensure that the right thing is done. And you can attest to that by going to the supermarkets now to see that things like that are no longer happening. They do happen. Of course, we cannot eliminate in one day. But by and large, it has really come down. That practice of displaying different prices on the shelf and going to the till to find a different price has really been more or less eliminated. And it is really an eye-opener for us also, because we are seeing things. As I told you earlier, we have now gone into the issue of going to the stores of these supermarkets, their warehouses where they receive the goods, finding out at what price these goods come in, what percentage, of course, profit they add to them, and so far, what old stock they have, and the one that they have bought at whatever prices when the dollar was high. We know the cost of dollar on any given day, so we know at what prices you buy your goods. will know at which prices you should sell those goods. This we did during COVID to catch some supermarkets with price gouging. And that is the way we are going again this time around. If we catch you and you are indulging in such practices, price gouging, price fixing, which are against the law, we get you and we ensure that you are appropriately sanctioned. These violations come with fines, and we will not fail or shy away from our responsibility. We make sure that you pay the appropriate fine, and we make sure that whatever kind of, if you face the consequences. If it means taking you to court to be prosecuted, you get prosecuted. If it means going to jail, you go to jail. But we will ensure that the right thing is done, and that is exactly where we are going. We are going to the informal markets also. As you have noticed, about 2-3 weeks earlier, we went into weights and measures, and we are trying to find out if you buy a 50 kg bag of rice, 50 kg bag of sugar, this is really 50 kg you are buying. What we found out there too is not palatable, because some bags of rice that claim to be 50 kg are short by as much as 10 kg, 12 kg. 25 kgs are short by 6 kg, 5 kg. And we have made it abundantly clear to both the sellers and the manufacturers or the baggers that in as much as your weight does not agree with your claim, then we are going to sanction. Things have started getting better. Our last experience only of yesterday, we found out that the markets, retailers in the market now insist when you bring them bags of rice that they weigh individually to find out if you are giving them the actual weight. We have also discovered something that we are going to work on. There are some rice companies that have really gone comatose. They are not working any longer. Things like stallion rice. But we found that there are some places in the market that sell bags of stallion and other products that have gone out of the market. And people buy these bags, go and put their own rice into it and sell in the claim that they are selling stallion rice or the other rice, for instance. And these are things that are not acceptable. This is deceptive and it's against the law. We are coming after you, and if you know yourselves, please endeavor to stop such practices, because we will get to you and you will face the consequences.
A lot of work really being done there by the FCCPC. But I need to also ask you this. Well, it's no more news that the electricity tariff has changed, particularly for Band A customers. And some are paying through their nose now. Well, the service is available. But I want to ask where the FCCPC comes in here, where people are still underestimated billings. We used to have all of these issues where you come, help address these challenges. In this new regime, where even we've seen discos being sanctioned, where would you come in to help, draw the line?
Okay, we are working with NERC, of course. We even have a memorandum of understanding, MOU, with them. And the issue is, even when they sanctioned, as you can see, we supported that sanction and we encouraged them on. But then we discovered only yesterday that this issue of refund, that the NERC directed the DISCO to refund some monies to some consumers, has not been done. And this is something that we want to take up with NERC right away. If by any chance that DISCO has failed to do what NERC has them to do, we can use our own regulations. We have a tribunal. We have the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Tribunal that will now look into this and resolve it. And if by any chance this DISCO is found to have flouted the directives of its own sector regulator, then we have the power to make them do what they are supposed to do and even sanction if they have not done the right thing. We are not sure if they have paid the 200 million that they are charged already, but we, as I said, are going to work with the NERC to find out what is going on in that field, since we are the apex regulator in as much as consumer protection and competition is involved. We work together with all sector regulators, NERC inclusive, and whenever we find out such issues are going wrong, we ensure that NERC does the right thing. If they don't, we know, we work together, we judge, and we find ways and means of getting these things resolved. That's how we have been working together with them so far.
Finally, see, before I let you go, tell us more about stakeholders' engagement and advocacy from the FCCPC that we expect moving on in 2024.
That's by and large a day-to-day happening in the Commission. We engage stakeholders on more or less on a daily basis. As I mentioned earlier, our law expects us to go into MOUs with all sector regulators, and you know them, NCA for aviation, NCC for telecommunications, NERC for electricity, as already pointed out, NSC. Most of these agencies already have MOUs with them. We do investigations together, we do advocacy together, and any other thing they go into, they invite us, and vice versa. So working together, we have found out that it's much cheaper and it's better for all of us. And also with other advocacy groups now, all consumer protection bodies, all competition bodies come to us and we sign MOUs and work together. When we are having this fair market investigation as well as the happenings now in the fair market, we rely so much on them to get the information. The biggest window we had this year was the investigation done by Consumers International, in which they came up with a full-fledged report on what they have found out about Nigerian markets and how the goods are coming out of the market and what happens in between, and how the market forces themselves through associations have made things so expensive. That is what guided us and put us in front of this duty that we are doing now. So we have found out that working with other agencies and advocacy groups has been of great assistance to us, and it's something that we keep pursuing, keep working on a daily basis.
Well, we'll keep it up. We hope to have you in to do some monitoring, evaluation of all of these processes and how it's impacting consumers. As usual, I've been speaking to the Acting Executive Vice Chairman, Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, live from our Abuja studios, Dr. Adamu Abdullahi. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure being here. Thank you very much.